Hello, I'm Neogetz and welcome to Space Engineers. Now, several people have requested that I do a survival LP of this game, so that's what we're up to. This world I have chosen is the type known as asteroids. That means that there's several large asteroids in the map, but no starter stations, shuttles, anything of that sort really. All of that is not an option here. So first things first, we've got to avoid any asteroids that come at us from the sun. Those like to come at us and do damage. So we should pick an asteroid to make into our home. I'm thinking this nice sized one over here. And sort of hide around the dark side of it if we can, hoping that it might have some ore on it. If there's no ore, I've already seen that there's iron down here. So we'll head to the smaller asteroids if necessary in order to start drilling for some of that. And so fingers crossed, not too bad a start here. I'm really hoping that at some point soon we will get a notification that tells us there's a cargo ship on the map somewhere. I've enabled the cargo ships to come into existence. Oops, slow down please, come on. Always takes these ships a while to slow down when you're trying to slow down with sideways momentum, so let's wait for that. Are we almost there? Yes. Then actually head back around the dark side of this thing. We don't really want to be hiding in the sunlight. That lovely lit up view of our shuttle at the moment is a terrible thing if we're actually trying to survive, so fingers crossed we can get ourselves back behind this thing and not have too much trouble. Now, my long-term aim here is to build a space station on this asteroid here. So that's going to be sort of the overall aim of the project. At first it's going to be a station on the dark side due to the asteroid issue, but then once we get a little bit more established, it will become a station that goes onto the light side because there are turrets and things that can deal with the asteroid issue. Now, this starter ship we've been given is actually a very good ship. It's got a refinery and things already on it. My only issue is the incredibly limited fuel time. So I am going to disable 2 of the items on here immediately, and let's just lower this to try and use a bit less power. It helps to have the gravity when moving around in here. Wrong one. If I just turn my jetpack off, it's much easier to get around when that's an option. Oops, wrong items. I always forget that we get this stuff all over our toolbar when we start. Actually, for the sake of now, let's have the drill as well. Now, generally, I find it very good to just put the drill away, save the inventory space. That one's really damaged. Yeah, they both are. Okay, so let's hit K a second and just double check we really have nothing on us. Let's open the door. This is a slight visual bug with the latest version. You can walk through the door no problem. It does just appear to be a visual problem, but something to be aware of when you're playing around, that is an issue. So let's head over to one of these asteroids and start trying to get our hands on some iron. As I said, I went for a more difficult start, but that does give us a bit of a better range of... Uh-oh. Slow down. Shoot. Forgot the inertial dampeners. Right. Well, we nearly killed ourselves. That was a great start. I love these donut asteroids. They tend to have a really good supply of ore in them. So let's come down here with the drill. Oh, what was that? Military escort. Oh, those are wonderful if you can get your hands on them. They start from quite far out though and head over. So I'm going to leave it alone for the moment and just let it hopefully get nearer. And the thing that I've found that I prefer to do when doing this stuff with the drill is just hold the collect button and hopefully plenty of things will collect up that break off. There'll be an awful lot that does just go flying. You'll see huge chunks of iron that fly off, but quite a lot will actually come with you. And as saying, that military escort will slowly get nearer. When it actually nears up quite a lot, I will head out to it. I normally head out to them around 6,000 kilometers. Tends to work out well, and in single player you can really successfully collect them. Oh, blast, I sent them flying rather than collecting them. There we go. So we're not doing too badly though for collecting materials, and the military escort is a brilliant first ship to get. The military class has heavy armor plating all over it, which means a lot more in terms of available items. You can rip them apart for materials much more easily. So let's quickly head back to our starter asteroid, which could be an issue. We're going to have to try and remember which one that was. The one downside to hiding on your asteroid, you never quite remember where you hid, but there's a bit of colour there, so I'm going to head towards that because I just want to heal up, fuel up my jetpack, and then we will head over towards that escort as it's nearing up quite nicely. And so fingers crossed we'll be able to get a hold of that, bring it back here, and having that, as I say, a lot of materials, awful lot more opportunities then for building things. I'll be able to build a let's see, small drilling shuttle and things that will make things go a lot quicker in terms of collecting things. So suit energy's up, just filling up now on the health. That takes a little bit of time, but it's extremely useful that we get given one of these medical rooms at the start, as those are quite the expensive things to make. So let's store that and head over towards the escort. Now, my method of doing this is pretty much the same as everyone else's. Get up to speed, turn off the jetpack, and wait for things to happen. So let's get ourselves up to speed. There we go, and the dampeners are off. You do generally need the dampeners once you're in range of the vehicles. Sorry, you generally don't need them. I mean, you use them to slow down, turn them off again, and then you're able to move around, taking care of the vehicle, given that they really are set up to try and destroy the vehicle. There's an awful lot of traps on these things that can be quite problematic. Now, we've overshot this one, so let's get the dampeners on and then accelerate in the direction of the vessel, and hopefully any momentum that we generate in the wrong direction will be taken care of by the dampeners, give or take. But we're getting quite close. I think we might want to rotate, get the dampeners off again a second, and back on. Let's let that catch up, and then we will head over, preferably with the blowtorch, I think, and see what class of vehicle we've been given. Now, there's various classes of vehicle that you can find out here, and so hopefully it's one of the ones that I recognise, because I've spent a bit of time learning the locations of the traps on some of the vehicles. Otherwise, this will just be a careful disabling of the thrusters. Let's just put the dampeners on a second. I think the entrance might be on the back here. Oh, we're upside down to the ship according to those landing gears. But I believe the entrance is normally on the back for this kind of design, often just below the beacon. So let's just head in that way, see what we can find. Nope, that's just a plate, so let's go around the sides. Oh, I know this design. Yes, it's around the sides. I know there's a trap on the inside. I don't know if there's any more, so we will disable the internal trap in a moment. There is gravity in here. So, oops, I turned the inertial dampers on. Turn those off. Jump on the ship that way. And just through... Ooh, wow, there's a lot more to this ship than I knew there was. every one of these I've come across has been already exploded, which is how I know where the trap is. I've never actually come across one properly, so let's get going with disabling the trap. We could just... Actually, that's a good idea. Let's go to the cockpit a second. I think that will be through here, yes. And turn off the ship. Well, most of it anyway. There we go. So, we have lost gravity now. But that's fine. We will just turn the jetpack back on. Oops. It already turned itself back on. And then we're fine to navigate, as this is a little bit problematic. As I said, it does try to kill you, or at least strand you out in space. So you've got to try and disable traps. There's two ways I've decided to disable traps. There's this way, which is drill in and dismantle the trap, which is great if you know where the trap is. So here's what the trap looks like. There's a thruster facing a warhead. When the ship is just sailing across space, not a problem. That warhead will sit there completely inert because none of the thrusters on the ship are doing anything. The ship's ready to be slowed down, or change direction in any form, but won't actually do that. As soon as you turn the inertial dampeners on, the ship will attempt to reach 0 speed, which will unfortunately, oops, well, our inventory is completely full, result in an explosion. So, not knowing if there's another one, I'm going to take the risk now of jumping in the cockpit, hitting Y. Let's zoom out so we can see the explosion if there is one. And if I then turn on the inertial dampeners, excellent, we've disabled the only trap on this ship. Oops, 1 second, I seem to have accidentally alt-tabbed. Let me try and get back to the game. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Fingers crossed, there we go. Didn't know how I did that actually, I didn't think I was pressing tab at that point in time. There we go. Now let's line up and work out where the asteroids are. We just need to find the asteroid field, and fingers crossed, then we can find our asteroid. As we know, we can see it from the donut asteroid, so if there's only one of those, then we're set. If there's multiple, then we will have an issue. But as I said, this ship is covered in heavy armor plates and things. So many things that we can dismantle for use in other ship designs. So that's excellent news for us. Let's just keep it going though. The ship very slowly gaining speed. Let's turn the dampeners off so I don't accidentally lose that. And hopefully, as I say, we will find something useful. Now ships seem to have a maximum speed slightly lower than players. So unfortunately the journey home is longer than the journey out. But that's why I tend to set off when there's still a bit of distance out. Now I'm not sure how near those asteroids are, but given how much they're moving, I'd say relatively near. But we do actually have a lot of forward thrusters, so we will be able to slow ourselves down as we get near. So they're coming in quite quickly now. Let's slow that down. Oop, there we go. Lots of issues just happened then. Not sure what actually. Possibly just there were some loose items internally, because we don't seem to have actually damaged the ship. So not sure what that was, but let's get ourselves squared up and guess which is our meteor. So we're still having those sparks as we're changing momentum. Definitely got to be careful of those. Let's come in a little lower, see if that will give us it, as we definitely need to be on the dark side of the asteroids in order to locate ours. That asteroid there has definitely got an amount of ore in it, as has that one. We can see the colour of the iron there. So where's the sun right now? Ooh. Let's try and work that out. Oh dear, the inertial dampeners I think are off. Let's get those back on. Again, we're having these sparks. That may be real, that may not be. The game is quite an early release. Tends to pretend there's damage where there isn't, although that's normally a sync issue in multiplayer. Don't generally have too much trouble with it in single player, and being able to actually catch this ship is very much so. Something that you can only really achieve with ease in single player. It's doable in multiplayer, but boy do the desync issues become incredibly problematic with that there. And one thing that does bug me slightly about this is the fact that you pick how many asteroids you want when you start a map, and then they will spawn incredibly near to each other. I'd love them to be slightly further out, just for me, you know, I'd prefer that. You know, some people might like this much closer together mess. Ooh, a mine layout, those are quite fun, but I'm actually hoping for something of the mining variety to come along next, because those have an absolute ton of ore on them. So fingers crossed we work out where home is soon. There's the donut, so let's head towards that. Hopefully there's only one donut on this map. If there's multiple donuts, then we are going to struggle to work out which is our spot, but this looks like it's the donut, so we're going to head over towards this and hope, as I said, that our shuttle appears in our vision soon. Lots of little asteroids here, so fingers crossed with this. Don't quite know which side of this we are approaching. Whoa. Okay, interesting. There was apparently multiple traps in here. Well, the ship's dead in the water. Let's jump out a second and see what just happened. Well, I'm not sure what happened there, but we've lost a lot of the very useful items making up this ship now. Okay. So, I think I'm going to have to go get that mine layer in order to continue, as now I'm in trouble. Luckily, my jetpack is full of power at the moment. This looks like a much tighter gap than the one that was in Donut. So this isn't Donut, unfortunately. Tends to be what I call any asteroid with a hole in it, though. This one's got such a type of hole in it, I'd think one of my friends had been here. He digs interesting holes through asteroids, gets himself lost, and then realises he's actually right next to the entrance. It's quite funny. Had this panic from him. Now that definitely looks like a donut there. And that might be a splodge of colour up there, so I'm going to head home, get myself back in the ship, just to refuel, and then I'm going to say goodbye, and hopefully next episode we will succeed in getting our hands on that mine layer. Now, I've only ever seen one design of mine layer, so no, I was the right way up to start with. Fingers crossed it's the same design, because there's two traps in that I definitely know the locations of. So here we go, we are back home. Although we blew up that ship, I will at some point attempt to get it over here just for the resources, as it's still handy because there are things left there, and that's more than the 0 we've got right now. But until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye!